Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Emmer goes on an epic rant, forcing Democrat clown Tim Walz to own up to the damage that he has caused his own home state. Let's dive in.
Governor Walz, you signed the Health and Human Services Omnibus Bill into law in May of 2023. That bill expanded Minnesota Care to provide free health care to illegal aliens. You signed the Higher Education Omnibus Bill into law in May of 2023. That bill allows illegals to have their college tuition paid for by the state. You signed the Driver's License for All Act into law in March of 2023, and that bill allows illegals to receive driver's licenses. So, you claim you're not a sanctuary state. You just provide free health care, free college, and driver's licenses to illegal aliens. One reason you're here testifying before us today is because you refuse to cooperate with ICE. While states like Florida and Virginia empower their law enforcement to detain and remove criminal illegal aliens, you, sir, have done just the opposite. Your Attorney General is directing law enforcement to ignore ICE immigration detainers. Do you agree with the Attorney General's guidance?
Well, Congressman, it's good to see you again, and thank you for being here. First, I would say as my job as governor of Minnesota is to make Minnesota the best state in the nation.
Do you agree with the Attorney General's guidance?
Congressman, what I would say on this is that Minnesota follows all law. I would say
it's a very easy question. And again, if you claim you're not a sanctuary state, you just claim that you support policies. You're not a sanctuary state, but you support policies that prevent ICE from doing their job.
Congressman,
isn't that right?
That is incorrect, Congressman. We follow the same laws when you were in the Minnesota House. The law has not changed,
If you'll allow me, I've got limited time. Well, that's what you tweeted, by the way, sir. And on May 23rd, 2018, you tweeted, quote, "I support policies that keep law enforcement from enforcing federal laws," close quote. On May 17th, just this spring, at the University of Minnesota Law School's commencement ceremony, you said, quote, "Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets." When you said the words modern-day Gestapo, you were referring to ICE agents. Gestapo, by the way, sir, was the official secret police of Hitler's Nazi Germany. So you're calling ICE agents modern-day Nazis. Given the attacks on ICE agents that took place in Los Angeles over the weekend, don't you regard your dangerous inflammatory rhetoric as a problem?
The questions do you want me to answer first?
So, sir, it saddens me that you refuse to express regret from comparing ICE to Nazis. ICE agents are brave Americans who get up every morning, leave their families, and put their lives in harm's way to protect our country, sir. You, at the very least, owe an apology to these dedicated public servants. I will say, sir, inflammatory rhetoric such as yours and the other governors on this panel is responsible for putting a target on the back of every ICE agent who is risking their life to protect our communities. Minnesota is all too familiar, by the way, with the chaos that ensues when you refuse to work with law enforcement to enforce the law. In May 2020, looting, acts of violence, and arson occurred on your watch in Minneapolis after you refused to bring in the National Guard. Governor, your agenda is clear: free health care, free college and driver's licenses for illegals while handcuffing law enforcement when they're trying to protect our citizens and their communities. If you think that's not a sanctuary state, you shouldn't be governor. By turning Minnesota into a magnet for illegals, you have opened up our communities to dangerous criminals, including known terrorists, gang members, murderers, and child predators. You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hard-working, law-abiding citizen of Minnesota, your safety and well-being are not the priorities of Tim Walz and his administration. But if you're coming to our state illegally, you're not only welcome with open arms, you're entitled to free stuff on the taxpayer's dime. This is absolutely disgraceful. Governor Walz, your sanctuary state agenda has been defined by your utter failure. You have failed to enforce the rule of law. You have failed to uphold our national sovereignty. And most importantly, you have failed the people of Minnesota. The time for radical sanctuary state policy, sir, is over. The voters made that clear last November when they elected President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. You remember him, don't you? Governor, the time for real leaders and real leadership is now.
That might have been the most complete speech I have ever seen in my brief lifetime of covering politics. Okay? He literally starts off with a great opener. He then builds his case completely, and finally, he just lays the hammer down right at the end. I mean, Tom Emmer is doing just a fantastic job here, and I almost feel bad for Tim Walz. Almost. And bear with me here. The dude is a true believer. He actually thinks what he's doing is a good thing. He's not a charlatan in the same likes of one of the worst governors in America who was also testifying on the same day, and just a couple of seats over, Kathy Hochul. And J.B. Pritzker is also, he knows that he's doing something bad, and he just doesn't care. Kathy Hochul knows she's doing just horrific things to her own state, and she likes it. But Tim Walz thinks that he's doing the right thing. As a matter of fact, he even tried to push back against the notion that, no, Minnesota really isn't a, let's see, what's the phrase for it? A sanctuary state. No, it's actually not. But they do provide free health care for illegal immigrants. They do want to give illegal immigrants driver's license, and they want to pay for illegal kids' college degrees. That's just clown world. Hey, y'all, here's the deal. Gold loves President Trump. Under Trump's first term, the price of gold soared 53%, and the price of silver jumped 51%. Since the start of the second term, gold has skyrocketed even higher, breaking records and even outperforming stocks. Here's what I like about precious metals like gold and silver. They have been used as a store of value for centuries. Governments can't easily manipulate it. They are used as hedges against market risk and, of course, against inflation. That's why I partnered with the amazing people over at Goldco. Goldco is an award-winning precious metals company. They are fans of this show, and they have helped millions of Americans just like y'all to purchase over $3 billion in gold and silver. Right now, you can get a free copy of their 2025 gold and silver kit. On top of that, you might also qualify for their amazing unlimited silver bonus offer. So don't wait on this. Go to politibrawlgold.com to learn more. That's politibrawlgold.com or call 855-644-GOLD. All right, that's clown world, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Walz needs to be walking around with a big red nose and bouncy red rubber shoes, because this dude is just a clown. But he's at least an earnest and honest one, unlike the other Democrats here. Seriously, this is what he tried to pull off during the Senate hearing. House hearing. It, being Minnesota, has no statewide law protecting immigrants in the U.S. illegally from deportation. However, Minneapolis and St. Paul both restrict the extent to which police and city employees can cooperate with the immigration enforcement. And to make matters worse for Tim Walz, he then tries this terrible line of, well, states aren't supposed to deal with immigration. That's the job of the federal government. Yeah, buddy. If that's the case, you don't need to be giving them free health care, you do not need to be giving them free college degrees, and you do not need to be giving them all the little extra goodies like, I don't know, driver's licenses. I know that there's something weird in the water up in Minnesota. It's the land of 10,000 flakes, okay? We all know something is a little bit off about them. We love those guys, but come on, Minnesota. Can you please stop doing this nonsense? Please, for the sake of the rest of your country, can you stop having these ridiculous policies that are making everything worse? This does not help people who are here illegally. The thing that you need to help them with is give them a meal and send them home. That's what you need to do. But he does get one thing right here. He does. It is the federal government's job to deal with immigration. And the states are supposed to work with the federal government. After all, the 11th Amendment is quite literally, you can't sue the feds, so if the feds are working in your state, it's kind of your job to help them along. And they don't like doing that in Minneapolis and St. Paul because there's something called sanctuary cities. There's a handful here in Georgia, and they're all nuts. They're all nuts. And they make matters worse nearly every single time. But fortunately, Tim Walz is at least a true believer. I don't think that man has a malicious bone in his body. Granted, he's one of the instances of liberals are so open-minded that their brains effectively have spilled out. That's what we're dealing with here, and yeah, he's one of the better ones. Because sitting right next to him is someone that I can categorically say is evil. Kathy Hochul. Her body language compared to Tim actually seems like he's squirming a little bit. Like he knows that he has to sit there and take it, and he doesn't like the humiliation, but he's also not going to fight back, because I think deep down, somewhere in his conscience that he's tried to bury, he knows that something is wrong. Kathy Hochul, on the other hand, does not. Or rather, she knows that it's wrong, and she does it anyways. But Tom Emmer just gave one of the best speeches I've seen in a long time, and it's just full of fiery, righteous passion, because he's right. Because now this is a federal problem on a scale across the nation. And so we need good leadership. As Emmer said, the time is now. This is what we must do. And this is the game that the Democrats are trying to play. They know they're never getting the Senate back. They know that's not going to happen. But maybe if during the next census, they're able to count the illegal immigrants here against the census to have more Democrat control of the House. At least that's the theory. However, this theory has backfired so hard that Republicans have now taken all 7 of the swing states, and Donald Trump won them very handily. And now immigrants have shifted farther to the right. That's what the polling has been showing, and rich white liberals just can't believe what they're seeing. Maybe when you live in little enclaves where nothing ever goes wrong and you don't have to deal with the effects of your own policies, you get a skewed view of life. And I think that's what happens with Tim Walz. So to be fair, I don't like him. I respect the dude. I'd have a beer with the dude. I'd talk with that guy and try to get some legislation done, because I trust that's what he wants to do. Kathy Hochul and a whole lot of other Democrats, on the other hand, not doing it. So, sorry to get a little bit personal on this one, but that's just the way I see it. But if you have a different opinion on Tim Walz, let me know down in the comments below. He is communist adjacent. You would not be wrong to call him that, because he actually had I think he spent his honeymoon there. I know Bernie Sanders did. I'm not sure if that's what Tim Walz did, but seriously, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Tom Emmer is absolutely right on this. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.